Ready? Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. It's Chris and God. So I just made that up. You like that?
No.
Okay. The Crystal and Ronnie Show. Today we're here. We're just going to give you a quick video. We're going to give you 5 things that help keep our relationship strong in the midst of this generation. I know some of you guys look at like old love, older couples, and you're like, how have you been together for 60, 70, 80 years? How are you guys still in love like this? How is this still going like this? And we want to just give you guys 5 things that we do as a couple, as an unmarried couple, to keep our relationship strong and cause our foundation to be strong so that we can be one of those 50, 60, 70, 80-year-old marriages that people love, adore, and look up to. Not one of those relationships that you went through hell and back, but one of those relationships that's real love, genuine love, pure love. And I do want to say real quick, like, you know, that's another video. Why we not married? Because everybody be like, oh, when is the wedding? When is the ring? You know, and I make jokes all the time, and I say stuff to Ryan, joke with him all the time. Be like,
she be low key serious sometimes. It's not like it's just being.
And then he get on my nerves, and then I remember why we not married, and I'm okay. Number 1 is we allow God to instruct us on how to treat one another.
How does that work?
You
What
alright?
does that look like? What does that look like?
You alright? Facebook? YouTube? I'm about to start this video all over again because this is a mess. Point number 1. We allow God to instruct us on how to treat one another. After all that, I mean, the honest to God truth is that we really did decide that we wanted to treat each other how Jesus Christ would instruct us on how to treat each other. So that means I have to treat with more love, more kindness, more patience, And that's the things that I work on, and gentleness is the things that I work on making sure that our relationship is strong on my end from what I can do. So when it comes to love, like Rodney told me a while ago, like we were like, me and Rob were going back and forth, and we were like bickering with each other, and he was like, you don't love me. Like, he's like, this is not love. Like, this is not the love that God speaks of in the Bible. And I was like, you're absolutely right. Like, I am not treating you with love, but I'm saying with my mouth that I love you, even with agape love, like that godly love. I'm not even giving you that even outside of intimate love because I'm being mean. Like, I can't love somebody. Blessings and curses can't come out the same mouth. So you have to be very careful what you say to the person that you quote unquote love. Remember that this is a human being. This is a soul that God created. You have to treat that person kindly, gently, with purity, you know. So that's how I figured that whole thing out with the help of Rod. So it's literally asking yourself, what would Jesus do? Jesus would be patient. Jesus would be understanding. Like today we had a situation where Rod got really, really upset with me because he was upset with somebody else, and the old me,
she wouldn't leave me alone after I asked her to leave me alone.
Well, gotta tell them the situation is.
But I'm just saying,
the old me would have wanted to tussle. I would have started yelling at him. I would have started being mean to him. I wouldn't even been able to talk to him. We would have been not speaking before we went to bed. We would have woke up not speaking. He would have been walking around with an attitude like he ain't do something wrong to me. But whatever. But what I did, I said, what would Jesus do? And I want y'all to know, before I said, what would Jesus do? I went to the mirror and I made all my little faces. He don't know that, but I did all of that. I was like, you know, because you got to do that sometimes when you love somebody. You got to make them faces before you go to the person. And you be like, hey, baby. Hey, baby. So I walked over to him and I said, hey, baby. He didn't even know I was just jumping at the mirror, mad, having to get my frustrations out because he just yelled at me. But the patience in me, the God in me, the love in me, the gentleness in me, the kindness in me, the understanding in me knew that he was going through something that wasn't just what it looked like on the surface. It was so much packed up emotions of what he was going through, and the last thing that he needed was me being emotional in the midst of him being emotional and being mean to him. You know, and that's the type of things that you have to understand when you want to build a healthy relationship, not just a relationship, not just something that looks good on pictures, but something that is lasting and something that is caring. You need to think about those type of things.
For me, it just started with how I was pretty much brought up. And that's pretty much just treating people how you want to be treated, right? So you have to understand. And sometimes you may fail at it, but you have to understand, like, with showing love, you want people to love you a certain type of way. So you gotta give that in order to receive that. So treating people how you want to be treated, so I can't like really go crazy on her or not show her love, verbally, physically, all those types of things, and to have that expectation for myself. It just don't work like that. You know what I'm saying? So, and then just having the understanding that ultimately, that's just how God created it to be anyway, right? Love your neighbor as you love yourself. When you love your neighbor as you love yourself, you end up having that same, you understand that there's an expectation for how you want to be loved, right? So that expectation allows you to show that in your actions. I'm selfless, right? I'm not going to be selfish with giving. I'm with wanting to receive love a certain type of way and not give it. So in order for me to have a healthy relationship, I got to give what it is that I'm looking for.
That's great. And that's a big thing that I was missing, because I was expecting something from you that I wasn't even willing to give you. But I didn't recognize that at the time because I was being selfish. You know, like wanting you to be this perfect boyfriend and wanting you to be so nice to me and kind to me like you are. But I was being mean to you, and I was being snappy, and I wasn't being like gentle, and I wasn't being lovey, you know?
Because the thing is, a lot of people, what they do is, it's easy for you to go and be nice to a stranger and show them love and kindness and stuff like that because they don't know you. You don't got to see them often, different things like that, and you want them to look at you as a loving, genuine, caring person, most people, right? And then when it's an individual that knows everything about you, that you're comfortable with, it's easy for you to allow your emotions to lash out on them. It's easy for you to say what you want, do what you want, because you're used to this individual being around, not understanding the cause and effect of your actions, right? It's like, all right, the love not being reciprocated. So when you tell me I love you, it's like, how? It's not adding up.
Yeah.
Which I'll be saying the math ain't mathing. How is it that you love me but you're not showing it? We all know it's an action word. So ultimately, being able to identify for us the area of, hey, this is not showing love even though it's being said. So let's do what's necessary. And how do we do what's necessary? It's by following the principles of.
So point number 2 is that we don't compare ourselves to other couples. That's the last thing we thinking about doing. Like Rod and I and ourselves, we're not really jealous people. Not saying we don't experience jealousy at all, ever. Not saying that we were never even jealous towards one another. But that's something that we cast it down. That don't mean that that's my experience. I might have had a feeling.
I was joking.
I know you was, and I'm just saying that might not be my experience. Like I might have had a moment where I looked at something he was doing or he had and been like, oh, I would like that for myself, but immediately it has to go. Like immediately, I don't let jealousy is like a thing we don't let linger. That is from the devil, and it needs to go down to the devil where it belongs, and it needs to stay there. Jealousy is not cool. It's not something that we should allow to linger, and it's definitely not something that we should bring in our relationships. If I allow a man off Instagram, if I allow a man into my family that I don't even see every day, if I allow one of our friends that I don't even know what's going on in their household rule and dictate how I treat my boyfriend or how he should treat me, that would be completely foolish. That would be one of the stupidest things that I could ever do, because you see highlights of people's lives. When people come and you hang out with your friends, they put on their best outfits, they put on their best colognes and perfumes, do their hair up, cook the best food for you to see. You're not seeing all the nasty meals that she cooked for her to get that one good meal for her man that you see post up on Instagram. You don't see none of that. You don't see the amount of like love that it takes for them to be able to be where they are. You don't see the amount of prayers that it takes for them to have been in the place to have that big house and those cars and this and that. You sometimes don't see the negative side of things. You might not see the scamming that it took to get all of that stuff. You might not see the money laundering, all of that stuff. You don't see all of that stuff. So to want what somebody else has is, for one, is coveting, for two, is jealousy, for three, is envy, and for four, it needs to be cast down to hell, because we don't do that. So when it comes to Rod, because I don't experience jealousy within myself, it's kind of hard for me to even take it as far as looking at other couples. But I see other couples all the time. I follow all types of relationship pages, black love pages, millennial marriage pages, like black travel couples pages, even families who, just families. I follow a lot of wives and all of that stuff, and I never look at their stuff and say, oh my gosh, I wish my husband could do that for me. If it's in God's will, I pray, like, Lord, let us have a nice house too one day. But I don't do that and say, oh, well, we don't have a big, giant, nice house now, so you must not be the man for me. You must not be the best boyfriend. I don't do that. And I pray that Rod doesn't do that to me and see somebody else and be like, oh, look at this couple. He's a fitness guru. Even though I used to be, I'm not really in that mindset anymore. But I still do love fitness. I hope that he doesn't look at other couples and be like, oh, look at her body. I wish my wife went to the gym like that. So yeah, that's my still on. We don't compare ourselves to other couples.
The exact body that I want, or the exact car that I want, somebody else may have that, but that's what's up. I'm glad they were able to accomplish that or get that, right? I'm glad they were able to put in whatever work to achieve whatever it is, and it really just comes from clapping for other people, right? When you clap for other people, when you're thankful for other people, you're grateful for, being able to see somebody's journey, it doesn't make room for jealousy.
Yeah.
When you ask like why and how, then that opens up the door for jealousy. So just really understand them. Being genuine really plays a major role in not being jealous. Like being grateful for what God's given us, right, allows us not to be a couple that compares, right? Because you'll easily compare to someone else's things or what they have or what someone else looks like when you're not grateful for what God has given you.
Yes.
And not understanding that not having gratitude is probably the thing that's stopping you from getting the things or getting more than the things that you desire. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I've never cared to compare. Who cares to compare? Just put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, you only compare when you're not satisfied with what God has given you. I think Rod already said that, but when you're satisfied, you understand that God said that He has a plan for your life to prosper you. You don't have room. What am I comparing for? God already told me that I'm gonna be above and not beneath. Like, I don't understand why. I don't understand why I need to take the time to compare myself or compare our relationship to anybody else's. Like, we stay in our lane, other people stay in their lane, and we all get to prosper. That's what God said. We all get the chance to prosper. So don't look at us. Don't look at other couples. Don't look at even an individual. You as a single individual. Don't be jealous of anybody in a relationship, because God has your own story written exactly for you. And you go chasing somebody else's story, you're going to completely miss what God has for you. You don't want that. Point number 3 is we're learning to listen to understand one another. So a big thing that I've been telling Rod that we both need to work on is listening to understand one another as opposed to listening to respond to one another. So a lot of the times when we get in disagreements, what we'll do is, for one, cut each other off, which we are working on stopping, because it hasn't stopped yet, but we're working on stopping it. And then for 2, as soon as the other person is done talking, we already have a response without processing what the other person just said, which lets us know that we're not listening to each other, we're not hearing, and we're not comprehending what each other is saying. So Rod kind of feels a little bit differently on this, but I think I understand this concept a little bit more because of just like my background and how I just kind of like my psychology, like sociology type of background, I understand communication styles, and I understand that there's no way that you actually took the time to listen and apply what somebody just said to you if you automatically have a response as soon as they're done talking, or if you want to cut them off while they're talking. That is not healthy communication. So we're learning healthy communication styles, and that's one thing that we're trying to stop doing. So if you have a partner and your partner is like, hey babe, I feel like you always pick up the phone while we're having dinner and talk to your family, and she's like, I don't do that, I don't do that. That's not, you didn't even take the time to listen, because you literally just did it last night and he saw it and he took a mental note of it and he's telling you right now, and immediately you're jumping to say you didn't do it, and you forgot about the fact that you did it yesterday when you didn't even take the chance, because you didn't even take the chance to think about it. So what we're trying to stop doing is cutting each other off and actually taking a second to listen to what the other person is saying, and then make an informed decision if we agree or disagree. But we have to take a second to listen to what that person is saying. That's so important in communication, because I feel like that's like one of the keys in communication, like actually understanding what somebody is saying to you. Because a lot of the times in relationships, man or woman will be telling their partner something that they like or dislike. Most of the time, let's say dislike, because that's what causes distance in relationships and causes relationships not to be as strong. A partner will be telling their partner what they dislike, and the partner is like, I don't do that, I don't do that. And you really do that, and now this person is growing distant from you because you continuously are doing the thing that they're telling you they don't like you doing. So we have to actually take the time to listen to one another so that we can stop doing the things that each other hates, so that we don't drive a wedge between our relationship. You can't have a strong relationship with somebody and they're telling you something that they don't like, and you keep doing it. So that's my spiel. What's yours, Steve?
It's never good to cut somebody off in the middle of them talking. I know that's something area for me to work on for sure. I just be so, I'm passionate about getting someone to understand my perspective. So sometimes if it feels like they're not getting my perspective, I'm just like trying to force them to understand my perspective, right? But it's just not healthy overall. In addition to that, I still feel a little a different type of way about that. I do feel like sometimes every situation doesn't have to take a second to process when you're listening. If you're listening to somebody have a conversation and they're saying something and you're listening, you may not agree. And I think that that's okay. Y'all can tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. But I feel like you should definitely be able to say, oh, I don't agree, because I don't agree. I literally probably don't agree with that, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm open to definitely getting more perspectives on that. I just feel how I feel about that, you know what I'm saying? Like, if we having a conversation and I say no, but I don't agree immediately, I just don't agree. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that I have to, I already kind of said this, but I don't think that an individual should have to say, oh, let me think about that. And that means that they're not listening. You know what I mean? But ultimately, if it is a situation like that, where, because sometimes we can, let's not act like it's like that every time. Let's be clear. Sometimes we can respond and not be listening. I'm just saying sometimes. This doesn't mean that it's necessarily like that all the time. But sometimes you might be upset, you might be angry, you might not be trying to hear what the individual is saying, especially if they're not saying it in a way for you to receive it, right? Or especially if you just in your feelings. You ain't trying to hear none of that, you know what I mean? So, that's definitely an area to work on too. You know what I mean? Because it's not healthy overall, you know what I'm saying? And that's not saying that any relationship is gonna be perfect. But every relationship is gonna be perfect, but what you can do is take small steps, small actions around whatever the conversation is about, which is an issue, and find healthy steps to be able to grow. In some areas, you may have to compromise. All right, you know what, I really don't agree, but let's try it this way, so that way it can help keep the peace. So maybe that's something I need to do. Because I don't be trying to hear it. Okay. What's your plan?
Listening to you. So point number 4 is that it's okay to have healthy disagreements. It's okay, like, they say, like, I agree to disagree, like we agree to disagree. it's okay to not be in a place where you guys both feel the same exact way at the same exact time. Relationships are not perfect. You're not always going to communicate in a way where somebody agrees with what you have to say. And it's not an opportunity for you to be mad or angry. You just don't agree, and that's okay. And something that we had to work through was being okay with the fact that we disagreed. So when we disagree, saying, okay, well, we disagree, and walking away without somebody being angry or somebody being frustrated, because it's easy to be angry and frustrated when you don't agree with somebody, especially when it's somebody that you feel like you should be on one accord with. Now, what I've learned in our communication is most of the time when we don't disagree, it's because we're not taking the time to listen to each other, and we don't even understand the point that the other person is trying to make. So normally when we disagree, by the end of the day, our emotions are at bay and our emotions are relaxed, we're always able to come back to each other, whether we're in bed or it's just like the day's wrapping up or we're calmed down. We always come back to each other and express our points and I say, babe, this is what I was trying to say earlier, and he says this is what I'm trying to say, and we always come to some type of agreement, because the word says, how can two walk together unless they be agreed? So we definitely do have to be on one accord with our partners. Even if you don't agree that your husband is saying go left, if you don't agree, you can't go right. Like, how can two walk together if one person is going left and the other person is going right? So if your husband says go left and you disagree, at some point you're going to have to make the decision that you have to go left with him, because that's your husband. You have to listen to what he has to say, and that's a part of submission, but that's a whole different conversation. But at the end of the day, if you do want to go right, you can express to him why you want to go right. But at 4 p.m., he might not be trying to listen to why you got to go right, and you might have to go left with him, unless you about to land in a ditch. And that goes into choosing a good partner, because you the blind leading the blind, y'all both gonna fall into a ditch. But anyway, that's another conversation. This conversation is about healthy relationships, building a healthy foundation. Okay, it's okay for you guys to disagree in the moment, but always try to come back together and form some type of agreement on whatever it is that you guys disagreed about, when your emotions are at bay and when you're not yelling and you're not frustrated and you're not angry anymore. Because you guys have to come to some type of like he said in the last point, you have to compromise. Like, relationships are about compromise, and if you guys can't figure out like you guys aren't both saying 2 + 2 is 4, you got to figure out what the answer is going to be, because that's a part of being in a relationship with somebody. Y'all have to come to some type of agreement.
Sometimes too, you gotta understand, like, if it's something that's sensitive and it's touchy, I think what's healthy is you may try to have those conversations in the same type of environment, such as your home, right? I think sometimes you gotta change that up and know the individual who you're with, and then put them in an environment that's different, but that'll also allow them to be comfortable to be able to listen differently. You know what I'm saying? So that way, when you go to have the conversation, they'll be able to be more receptive. It's kind of like playing a mind game in a sense, but if you know, like, you want to come and share something with them that's touchy or a little uncomfortable that y'all probably never agree with, right? Let's just say that. Taking them out to go get some food and, you know, making them feel good and stuff like that will allow them to probably be comfortable. I mean, you just gotta make a person, honestly. I'm just throwing stuff out there or whatever, but putting them in an environment, putting them in a space where it allows them to be able to receive what you're saying, right? And you know, that's just another way to share with your partner, right? Something that's sensitive or touchy that y'all might have disagreed with, right? Because that's what we talk about, a disagreement or whatever the case is. So, you know, just trying different things, you know what I'm saying? But ultimately, understanding that the end result is to make things better. When you understand the end result is to make things better, and you set that intention before having that conversation, right? Like, what that looks like is, hey, I wanna say this to let you know I intend for us to be able to move past this in a healthy manner so that we can grow from here. Such and such and such, right? Just setting it up that way allows the individual to know, like, oh, all right, you ain't coming to argue, or you ain't coming to just let me know your point just to be blocked, you know what I'm saying? And then being able to actually listen to the individual, and to be honest, letting the person know, like, yo, not making the person wrong for how they feel and their perspective, because we can do that. We can look at a person and be like, because we don't agree, we make them wrong for that. It's like, no, this is how you feel, this is what works for you. Cool, I might not agree with it, but it's like you empathize with a person in a sense, you know what I'm saying? And then that also allow you to be able to move forward or get ahead in some type of way. You know what I'm saying? So that's just some things, you know, that we're working on. Because it's important. You don't have to be in a relationship with an individual who you argue with all the time. Like, I meet people, older couples who've been married for 30, 40 years. I mean, all the time, all different races, and a lot of the times I've met couples who like, yeah, we never argue. Like, out your whole relationship, yeah, we never argue. And we never argue. We might get angry or upset, but we understand it's better to just have the conversation later on, and then we be cool. So a lot of people don't have to go through having unnecessary arguments and stuff like that. It's just really about understanding the individual that you with, and that understanding like, yo, within that, we can communicate. Not only communicate, but have effective communication, which will allow us to be able to grow. So that way we don't have to keep revisiting the same exact thing. You know what I'm saying? Because what it does is it divides you and tears you apart. It divides you, that's tearing you apart pretty much. So now you going this way, now I'm going this way, and now if we're going separate ways, there's no way that love can live here, because there's nothing. So now we show up places, we do things, and we're not really feeling each other. Now I don't really like you like that. I don't really care about you as much as I used to. You know what I'm saying? So it just opens up so many different things. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna say.
I think that's great. I just want to go into the point that you made about having conversations in a safe environment, and this goes for the married couples. Like, for women, if you know you got to tell your man something sensitive, or you want to tell him something that you didn't really like that he did that he could correct and do better, give him some yams. Like, I'm serious, babe. Like, that is a good opportunity.
Power the yams, man. Get you anything.
We gotta understand
being
how
gentle
much.
And giving up
Yes,
being
we gotta
nice,
understand
sweet.
how much power we have as women, and our gentleness, and our patience, and our sweetness, and what's down there. Like, if you know that you've been struggling to tell your partner something, if you are like a woman that's a little bit soft-spoken, you know, you don't really tell your man the things that you don't like that he does, that's a good opportunity. After you lay it on them, hey babe, like, you know, yesterday you said, yeah, rub his feet, put lotion on his back. Hey, yesterday you said something in front of people and it kind of embarrassed me, and I wouldn't like if you said that again. Hey babe, like, do you mind taking care of this?
Nice and sweet.
Yeah, do you mind taking care of this bill, this tab? I know it's a little bit out of our budget, but I really want it. You know, things like that. I've realized the nicer I am to my partner, the more space I give him. Yeah, we don't have sex, so the more I give him a good space to operate in as a man, the more he is nicer to me, and the more he gives me. Like, he's more willing to be a man for me, the more I'm a woman for him. And that's something that I'm learning. It's something I'm in the process of learning, and it's something I'll talk more to you guys on a more personal level, even outside of this, because it's more of a woman to woman type of conversation. But, you know, just creating a safe space for your partner is really, really, really important. Like, in married couples, I don't even know if YouTube flagged you for saying the word sex, but we said sex in the last one, right?
They flagged us on TikTok.
Yeah, they flagged us on TikTok for sure. But giving your man some yams, like, y'all know where I'm going with this. Giving your man some yams is going to
So it's high and ready.
open up a world of anything that you want, okay? So you can get whatever you want. Like, yes, when you're a woman, when you're feminine, you know, and when you use your feminine abilities to mix with his male capabilities, you know, you get where I'm going? So just the two mixing, it's a spiritual act that happens. Like, it's not just humping. It's like literally something that's happening in a spiritual atmosphere, you know, that unlocks certain things. So the world's open to you, honey. So open them legs to that man and be more gentle. Stop being so mean to him. Stop being so impatient. Stop being so unpleasant. Stop being so rough with him, you know? So yeah,
I'm trying to tell y'all though, I'm telling you ladies, anything you want from your man, all you gotta do is be nice and polite. That's it. Rub his head, give him a brain massage or something. Go shampoo and condition his hair or something. You know what I'm saying? For real. And talk, have a conversation, but nobody wants somebody that's rough and just, you know, it's a necessary time for that. know when it's necessary. And don't
when
even
we playing
do it
around,
because
I definitely be rough.
yeah,
We be
but
playing
don't only do it when you want something.
Yeah.
Do it just because you should do it.
Yeah,
it's in
it's
your nature to
genuine.
be like that. You know what I'm saying? So now it's just gonna come out, and it'll make him do things and aware of things. As you have a conversation with him, if it's an individual he's probably not aware that you really like going to the store, or you like, you know what I'm saying, seeing him be a certain type of way. What's going to end up happening is he's gonna want to figure it out. It's gonna be like, oh, all right, you know what? And then these things just are gonna start happening for you, and then it's gonna allow you to be able to be more of a woman continuously. So, you know.
So our last point was just that we know we prioritize having fun with each other. So right now, it just looks simple, like us taking the time to watch movies together, to go on walks together.
Even though she falls asleep.
I fall asleep every time, but I still do it, you know, because that's what he likes. And we play all day. Like, we literally play jokes all day. We laugh all day. Yeah. Well, he WWE me. Like, that was so funny. Like, my cheeks hurt from laughing. But like, you imagine your man just picking you up and like like, that's fun. That's fun to us. It might not be fun to you, but that's fun to us. But our fun is gonna look different in the future when our money change, like when our situations change. Our fun might be us jet skiing or going on vacations or trying out new restaurants and new foods, but whatever. We do that now, but you know, it might look different. Like, of course, like as our money changes and stuff like that, like that type of fun will look different. But right now, we do what we can. We joke with each other. Like, you might not have $1 million to go on vacation. Does that mean you shouldn't have fun with your partner? No, we have fun. We laugh, we joke, we play. Like, you know.
Not the pranks though.
Yeah, we don't really do pranks. That's wrong. I'm not smashing the egg on my man head. Like, I just feel like that's not the type of relationship that I want to have. Like, I don't want to. I feel like
not knocking nobody that do it. That's your thing. That's your thing.
We're not knocking it, but that's not our thing. It's a beautiful night to transform your life. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe. Thank you guys for all the people who have subscribed so far. Our channel's growing and we're grateful. We at 114 now. You might see this and we might be at 10,000. Who knows? But to God be the glory that we even able to do this. And I just want to thank my partner for sacrificing, because him doing this at this time at 10 p.m. this is what I want to do. And if he was trying to drag me out the house at 9 o'clock, I promise you I probably would say no. So I just want to thank him for sacrificing for me and doing something that, even though it's beneficial to the kingdom of God, it's still my thing that I wanted to do, that I suggested. So I just want to say thank you.
I want to do it tomorrow.
He doesn't know we're doing another one tomorrow as well. We got this. We rolling for the kingdom of God.
I'm busy tomorrow.
So we thank you guys. Make sure you subscribe and turn the notifications on. Make sure you guys stay tuned. Thank y'all. We love y'all. My breath stink a little. I need to chill.
Wayne, you talking about, yeah, let's record the video. Did you get that breath together? It's a little.
We allow God to show.
See,
Right, we're recording a YouTube video and you saw on Facebook, bro.
I'm tired.